When you think of the new year, you always think of new resolutions and you always think of goals and how you can make 2023 the best year of your life. I feel like the only issue with New Year's and New Year's resolutions is I am a person that never ends up following through on all of my goals, and by the end I almost feel disappointed because it's almost like I have let myself down by putting myself up to this expectation of reaching a certain goal but then not following through with it. If you are someone who has spent a lot of your time wasting this year or kind of just letting time pass you by laying in bed, scrolling on your phone, scrolling on social media, because I feel like that's one of the biggest traps of spending your time nowadays, then not to worry, I'm here to help you save a half-wasted year. I put together a list of some practical tips of some things that I have been doing that have helped me drastically change up my entire schedule and routine to make myself the best person that I can be to be productive for the rest of this year and making the most of my time, even though I sort of wasted half of this year due to a lot of just outside circumstances and me not really keeping myself accountable. This video is inspired by Vanessa Laresma and also my friend Hannah Warling. I watched her video and then I also went on a YouTube Shorts call where Hannah kind of shared her experience of really just changing her routine and her habits, and a lot of this information is stuff that I've learned from both of them that I have put my own perspective into and my own twist on, so make sure to check them out down below. I will link their channels in the description, and let's get right into the video. My first tip is to change your routine. I know that changing your routine can be really hard if you're already set onto a specific habit. One book that has changed my life regarding habits is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book actually has a lot of practical tips on how you can make progress and what progress actually looks like. On page 21, The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits, James Clear says, if you find yourself struggling to build a good habit or break a bad one, it's not because you've lost your ability to improve. And remember that your work is not wasted, it's just being stored. All the action happens at 32 degrees. I think that as someone who's very impatient, I tend to fall back on a lot of my accomplishments. If I don't see things moving or happening right away, I tend to think, oh my gosh, it's never going to happen for me, when that is clearly not true, because every single action that you take will lead you to a bigger destination, even if you don't see the results right away. Some ways you can practically change your habits and your routine is by doing these 3 easy steps. First, identifying a cue. Second, defining your routine. And third, determining your reward. For example, I hate to exercise, but I know that exercise is a vital part of living, and it helps you move your body and it helps you to be more active and just up and alert. I've started to run and I've started to jog and I've started to walk more, but in order to keep me motivated to do so, I have identified a reason on why I need to exercise. So my goal in exercising is to be healthier, but how am I going to keep up my goal? I'm going to define it as a routine. So my goal is to actually exercise for like 30 minutes a day. I set a timer and then I go out and I put on a good playlist and then I start walking. And as for determining my reward, how can I reward myself to keep myself motivated in order to continue to run and to walk even when I don't feel like it? Well, there's this really amazing show on Amazon Prime right now. It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. If you know anything about the show, you know that it's about the beaches, about love, romance, and that's all I can dream of as a girl. So I reward myself by telling myself, okay, if I walk every single day for 30 minutes, by the end of the week, I have that episode that releases on Friday to look forward to. And once I finish my exercise for the week and I check it off and I'm getting the steps that I need to get in for my exercise, then I can reward myself by relaxing and watching that show. It seems a lot simpler and easier said than done, and this has taken a lot of practice to implement into my routine, but I have found that this has been really beneficial for me, and I think that I am getting myself into a good habit by slowly giving me reasons why to implement that good habit. My second tip is to write down your goals. I feel like as someone who is very scatterbrained and I just have like a million things going on all the time, it's really hard for me to remember everything that I need to do. And when you have a million things going on and you're trying to hold and grasp onto so many things, you take up a lot of brain space in your brain. And this is something Hannah talked about on the YouTube Shorts call. I used to let everything float around in my brain, and that was fine. I feel like it worked. At the same time, a lot of that was taking up my brain space. So now, at the beginning of every day, my brother actually got me this notepad. I turn to an empty page and I get a pen and I just write down every single one of my things to do on a list. And I try to make these goals reasonable but challenging. This is another thing Hannah talked about that I thought was really valuable that I wanted to share and pass along. You should make goals that are challenging but not unreasonable. Because if you make unreasonable goals that are way too challenging, then most likely you're not going to achieve the goals and then you're going to feel like a failure. But if you make a goal slightly challenging, it's pushing you to finish the goal, but it's also not too overbearing on yourself and it doesn't add too much pressure. I think that when it comes to writing things down, it also helps to have a lot of good fun stationery. When your notepads are cute, when your pens or highlighters are cute, that also motivates you as well. And there's also a scientific study on the internet that actually proves that color enhances your memory. So if you can implement that into just anything that you're writing down, it actually makes things more vibrant in your brain and it may even stick longer. Tip number 3 is to set a screen time and set timers so you can be productive. I am the worst and am so guilty at really just wasting my time on social media. And as a social media personnel myself, I find that it's really hard to stay on track and stay accountable for what I'm doing, because the minute I open the TikTok app or the minute I open my Instagram app, I get lost within tons of content. I've found that it's really hard to stop that habit, but something that has given me a limit to that struggle is by setting timers. I set timers for literally everything now, and I feel like it's given me a lot more structure to what I'm doing, just because it limits me to the time that I'm spending time on something and it doesn't let me get carried away when I'm trying to do a new task. The 4th tip that I have is don't be afraid to say no. I'm the worst person when it comes to saying no, because I'm the biggest people pleaser you will ever meet. I care so much about what other people think of me. I almost let that fear control me for a while when it should not have. And I'm here to tell you that it's okay if you can't do everything. It's okay if you're not Superwoman, because we're not meant to be Superwoman every single day. And it's okay if you can't make certain events, or it's okay if you can't go see your friend because she's so far away. Don't stretch yourself so thin to the point where you can't show up for yourself. At the beginning of my social media career, I used to say yes to everything. And the thing with saying yes to everything is it gave me a lot of opportunities, but I definitely was not taking care of myself, and I felt myself just withering away because I was stretching myself so thin, saying yes to everything, trying to help everybody wherever I can, that I couldn't even pour into my own cup. I want you to know that if an opportunity is meant for you, and if you decide to say yes to an opportunity, then it's gonna lead you somewhere. And you chose that opportunity for a reason. But if you don't take the opportunity, then I want you to also know that you were meant to not take that opportunity. Yes, take what you can, but don't feel like you're missing out if you end up not taking it. Because I also struggle with FOMO, so I just want to throw that out there, that when you are fearful of the FOMO and what you missed out on, you're missing out on what the Lord just has for you in the present moment. So don't feel bad if you can't take up an opportunity because you just don't feel like it's the right timing, because when the right opportunity comes along, you will know and it will be meant for you. Same thing with managing your time. Don't always feel like you have to hang out with certain people if you feel like they're not adding value to your life. just simply decline and say no, and don't worry about it, because you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day, and you have to take everything that everyone else says into a grain of salt, because they don't know you, and only you know yourself, and only the Lord knows you. So you have to really just trust that you're doing what's best for you, and that's it. And my last tip is tip number 5, which is to pick up a new hobby. You have to find something that brings you joy every day, because otherwise you're gonna start to feel like there's no purpose in life. Or at least that's how I felt. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. I'm just gonna put that out there. But when you get stuck in this mundane cycle of work, sleep, eat, or eat, sleep, work, it kind of gets repetitive. So making sure to set little goals or hobbies that can motivate you to have something to look forward to really pushes you to be the best that you can be, and it motivates you to do other things. For example, I love to video content create, but because it is more of a tolling task and it takes away from just everything I'm doing, and it almost is like another side hustle now versus a hobby to me, versus when it started out as a hobby at the beginning, it kind of burns me out to do this as what I love. So I have actually picked up a new hobby, which is painting. And even though I'm not the greatest painter, well, here, I'm gonna show you guys a painting that I recently painted. Here's one of my painting pieces. I painted this a while back in California. I'm not the greatest painter, but again, I had a lot of fun just sitting down and trying it and just painting. You don't even have to have inspiration to actually paint a scenic picture. You can also do squiggly line painting. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean by that. I actually love this method just because it's really calming, therapeutic, and relaxing. All you do is you dot the canvas with a bunch of different colors that match the theme and aesthetic, and then you start to swiggle and you just start like doing little lines however your heart feels, and it turns out into a little masterpiece. It's never too late to pick up a new hobby or try something new, and I want to put that out there because I'm the type of person who thinks that when I start late, there's no point in continuing or starting at all, just because we're already halfway through. And so then I tend to wait till the beginning of the year to start. But I want you to know that you don't have to waste the rest of this year, and you can start now. There's never a perfect time to start. There's never a too late to start. There's never an oversaturated market of, oh, there's too many content creators, or there's too many artists, or there's too many, I don't know, gymnasts or soccer players that are too good for me to start. I used to be stuck in that mindset, and now I think more of how if it's God's will for you, or if it's meant to happen for you, then there's never too saturated of a market for you to even start. And you really do have to believe that, because it is definitely hard seeing other people who are pursuing this field that you are so passionate about thrive and grow faster than you, and so it makes you feel out of place. But I'm here to tell you that that is completely not true, and if you have a passion and a mindset for it, then it's obviously going to happen, and you are going to make your dream into a reality. It may not happen overnight, it may not happen in 5 years, but every single step you take is progress, and you have to really treat every single thing that you do as a bunch of hours of practice versus, oh, I don't know if this is working and I hope my work isn't wasted. Because once you change your mindset from the work is wasted to this is practice and it's leading me to where I want to be, then you're always going to be content, and you're always going to have that motivation to keep going versus feeling burnt out when you don't see results right away. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. I'm huge on self-development, and I have never been the best at self-development myself, but this year I really struggled with a lot of health issues at the beginning of the year that really put me back, and I lost a family member, and it really decreased my motivation and just my routine and a lot of things. But now that I'm trying to grasp and I'm trying to take time to make the most of what I'm doing, it's so much more relieving, and I feel very content because I know that even though I'm not doing things perfectly, I'm showing up for myself every single day, and that's the best that I can do. I hope these tips helped, and again, if it did, I would really appreciate it if you guys could smash the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help out the YouTube algorithm, and it helps out my channel, and I truly do appreciate it. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!